A sleek, white spaceship roars to life on a launch pad, its engines igniting with a fiery brilliance against the deep black of the cosmos. Within moments, it hurtles skyward, carrying not astronauts, but civilians, ordinary people venturing beyond our atmosphere. This is not a scene from a sci-fi blockbuster. This is the rise of space tourism, a bold new frontier where the dream of experiencing outer space is no longer confined to the pages of science fiction. But here's the real question. Could this emerging industry be about more than just an extravagant adventure? Could it ignite revolutions in commerce and science that ripple far beyond leisure travel? In this video, we're exploring the incredible potential of space tourism, not just as a playground for the wealthy, but as a catalyst for groundbreaking innovations and discoveries. What lies ahead could redefine how we understand space and our place within it. Let's dive in. Space tourism, while still in its infancy, is rapidly becoming one of the most exciting chapters in human history, one that blends ambition, innovation, and the universal desire to explore the unknown. The idea itself is not new. Visionaries like Arthur C. Clarke, the famed science fiction writer, painted vivid pictures of humanity living and traveling in space as far back as the mid-20th century. Decades later, modern pioneers like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson have taken those dreams and turned them into tangible goals, laying the foundation for an entirely new industry. Private companies such as SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic are at the forefront of this revolution. These enterprises have reimagined what's possible by leveraging cutting-edge technologies to make space travel more efficient, reliable, and crucially, more accessible, though it's still far from affordable for the average person. SpaceX, for instance, has driven innovation with its reusable rocket systems, dramatically reducing the cost per launch and proving that spaceflight can be sustainable. Blue Origin, founded by Jeff Bezos, aims to make space tourism as commonplace as air travel in the long term, while Virgin Galactic has focused on suborbital flights that offer passengers a taste of zero gravity and breathtaking views of Earth from the edge of space. But let's take a moment to understand why this matters. Initially, space tourism has naturally drawn the interest of the affluent, those with the financial means to spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of dollars on a once-in-a-lifetime experience. For these early adopters, the appeal is clear: the chance to break free from Earth's bounds, gaze at the curvature of the planet, and feel the profound, transformative sensation of weightlessness. These voyages channel the spirit of exploration that has propelled humanity forward for centuries. Yet, space tourism is far more than a luxury for the wealthy. This early market plays a crucial role in sustaining and driving innovation. The significant investments from private companies and affluent individuals are helping to fund technological advancements that have benefits extending well beyond joyrides to space. For example, the development of reusable rocket technology, perfected to meet the demands of frequent commercial spaceflights, has already revolutionized how we approach space exploration. Lower launch costs mean not only more opportunities for tourists, but also more accessible satellite deployments, planetary research, and even interplanetary missions. This is just the beginning. The ripple effects of space tourism's growth could open doors to advancements in materials science, propulsion systems, and life support technologies, all of which have applications here on Earth as well. And as competition heats up among companies, it's reasonable to expect costs will continue to drop, paving the way for a broader range of participants, not just individual thrill seekers, but potentially scientists, researchers, and educators. In essence, what started as a dream to make space travel accessible to private citizens is now shaping up to be a springboard for ideas and innovations that could benefit all of humanity. And this is where the conversation begins to shift. Could space tourism be about more than just the experience? Could it become a gateway to solving larger, more complex challenges, both in space and back here on Earth? Let's explore that next. Space tourism is more than just an awe-inspiring experience. It's the spark of an emerging interstellar economy, one that promises to reshape industries and create opportunities in ways we're only beginning to imagine. Think of it this way: every time humanity has ventured into uncharted territory, whether it was the early Silk Road trading routes or the commercial aviation boom of the 20th century, new economies were born. Space is no different. By turning the final frontier into a viable destination, space tourism is unlocking the door to an entirely new marketplace that could rival the economic revolutions of the past. Let's start by looking at the industries poised to thrive as space tourism gains momentum. One of the most immediate opportunities lies in advanced manufacturing. Due to the unique conditions of microgravity, materials can be created in orbit that are impossible to produce on Earth. For example, researchers have found that fiber optics manufactured in space exhibit fewer imperfections, making them far more efficient. Similarly, certain pharmaceuticals and biological materials can be developed under microgravity with higher purity and effectiveness. With space tourism infrastructure driving down the costs of launches and frequent flights, these innovations could enter the mainstream market sooner than we think. Another industry ready to burst onto the scene is hospitality. Imagine a space hotel orbiting Earth, offering guests breathtaking views of our blue planet as they dine, sleep, and relax in a gravity-free environment. Companies like Orbital Assembly Corporation have already announced plans to develop luxury space habitats, combining comfort with cutting-edge technology. These ventures could pave the way for orbital theme parks, off-world resorts, and even package tours for space exploration, creating an entirely new category of jobs in areas like design, construction, maintenance, and guest services. But the possibilities don't stop there. With an eye toward the future, space tourism is also laying the groundwork for resource mining beyond Earth. Asteroids, for example, are rich in valuable metals such as platinum, gold, and rare earth elements, materials essential for advanced electronics and clean energy technologies. Mining these resources could help meet global demand while reducing the environmental impacts of terrestrial mining. While this may still sound like science fiction, the initial investments and technological advancements fueled by the space tourism sector are making these ambitions increasingly feasible. The ripple effect of these developments is immense. As space tourism scales up, it will create entirely new supply chains to support its growth. From rocket manufacturing and propulsion technologies to food supplies and waste management systems, countless industries on Earth will benefit from the innovations required to sustain regular human activities in space. This expansion means more diverse job opportunities, ranging from engineers and scientists to marketers and travel agents. And as competition among companies intensifies, the cost of space technologies will continue to decline, making them more accessible for other purposes, including scientific research and sustainable energy exploration. But perhaps the most exciting aspect of this interstellar economy is its potential to inspire humanity to think bigger. By normalizing travel to space, we create a framework for more ambitious ventures, such as interplanetary voyages to Mars or establishing permanent settlements on the Moon. These economic drivers will not only generate profits but also foster a spirit of exploration and innovation that transcends borders and industries. In truth, space tourism's impact extends far beyond the wealthy passengers who ride aboard these early flights. It is a catalyst, a spark that ignites a chain reaction of opportunities, technologies, and dreams. And while the commercial impacts are undeniable, some might wonder, how will this new economy intersect with humanity's quest for scientific breakthroughs? Could the boom in space tourism accelerate discoveries that could transform life as we know it? Let's take a closer look. One of the most remarkable things about space tourism is how it could become a conduit for groundbreaking scientific research. While the idea of private citizens enjoying a trip to space may sound like the stuff of adventure novels, the reality is that every single launch represents an opportunity to expand our scientific understanding in a way that was previously unimaginable. Space tourism is not just putting more people into orbit, it's opening up new avenues for research by turning everyday travelers into contributors to science and by massively increasing access to low Earth orbit for experimentation. First, let's talk about the concept of citizen scientists. Space tourists, while primarily embarking on flights for personal experiences, could carry out meaningful research as part of their journey. Imagine this: while floating in microgravity, tourists could assist in data collection for studies focused on human physiology in environments beyond Earth. For example, scientists are deeply interested in how prolonged exposure to microgravity impacts muscle atrophy, bone density, and even eyesight. While astronauts have long been the primary test subjects for such research, their numbers are limited. By involving space tourists, researchers can significantly expand their pool of data, gaining new insights into how the human body responds to these unique conditions. And because these travelers come from diverse age groups, body types, and health backgrounds, the data collected could be far more comprehensive. Moreover, these participants could also help with Earth observation studies. Equipped with specialized tools or guided by instructions from scientists on the ground, tourists might monitor weather patterns, track environmental changes, or even document Earth's biodiversity from orbit. Their unique vantage point provides an unparalleled perspective on our planet, one that has already proven critical for understanding climate change, deforestation, and natural disasters. By empowering everyday travelers to contribute observations, space tourism could provide scientists with a steady stream of valuable data about our ever-changing world. Moving beyond individual contributions, space tourism also accelerates the pace and scale of experimental research in orbit. In the past, sending equipment to study conditions in space was limited to expensive government missions or select private endeavors. But the rise of commercial spaceflight dramatically lowers these barriers. With more frequent and affordable launches, researchers can conduct experiments at a scale and frequency never seen before. For instance, studies on how plants grow in microgravity, how new materials solidify or form in orbit, or how fluids behave without the constraints of gravity could now be performed multiple times, refining results and driving innovation faster than ever. There are already real-world examples of this kind of progress. For instance, recent private missions have carried experimental payloads to study everything from cancer treatments to protein crystallization. On a SpaceX mission in 2021, researchers sent up an experiment to grow protein crystals in microgravity, which could lead to improved drug formulations back on Earth. Virgin Galactic has also partnered with scientists to conduct experiments during its suborbital flights, allowing researchers to test equipment and concepts in a near-space environment without the cost or complexity of launching to the International Space Station. These examples show how commercial flights are transforming research from a rare, isolated event into something accessible and routine. And then there's the sheer wealth of knowledge that comes from observing human behavior and innovation in these situations. The ability to conduct experiments in collaboration with private companies means new materials, medical technologies, and even artificial intelligence systems can be tested and optimized for the challenges of space. These breakthroughs, while born out of the needs of space travel, often find their way back into everyday use here on Earth, For example, advanced water filtration systems and lightweight construction materials developed for space could help address resource scarcity in developing countries. Ultimately, space tourism does much more than fulfill humanity's dream to journey among the stars. It actively propels scientific discovery forward. By involving an ever-growing community of participants in meaningful research and offering unprecedented access to low Earth orbit, this burgeoning industry has the potential to revolutionize our understanding of not only life in space but also life here on Earth. But with this rapid expansion comes a question we must all consider. How do we ensure that the growth of space tourism is sustainable both environmentally and ethically? That's what we'll examine next. As exciting as the prospect of space tourism is, it's impossible to ignore the environmental challenges that come with it. Every rocket launch delivers an extraordinary spectacle, plumes of fire and smoke as spacecraft ascend to the heavens. But behind this dramatic display lies a significant environmental cost. Rocket launches, while far fewer in number than airplane flights, produce emissions that can have both local and global impacts. When rockets burn their fuel, they release carbon dioxide, black carbon, and water vapor into the atmosphere, including the upper layers like the stratosphere. Unlike emissions from ground-based or airplane transportation, these particles remain in the upper atmosphere for years, potentially affecting ozone levels and altering climate patterns. It's a sobering reality. For space tourism to thrive, it must grapple with the question: how do we balance the dream of exploring space with the responsibility of preserving our home planet? Fortunately, the industry is already moving toward solutions. Companies at the forefront of space tourism are increasingly aware of the need to minimize the environmental footprint of their operations, and they're exploring emerging technologies to make space travel more sustainable. Take, for instance, the push toward developing greener rocket fuels. Traditional rocket propellants have relied on chemicals that, while highly effective, produce significant emissions. However, newer companies are exploring alternatives such as liquid methane or biofuels, which burn cleaner and produce fewer pollutants. SpaceX, for example, is utilizing methane as a fuel component for its Starship rocket. Methane not only offers efficiencies in performance but also has the potential to be synthesized using renewable energy, significantly reducing its carbon footprint. These technologies are still evolving, but they represent a critical step forward in aligning space travel with environmental stewardship. Reusable rocket technology has also become a game changer. The ability to recover and relaunch rockets, pioneered by companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin, reduces the need for manufacturing new components for every flight, a process that consumes vast amounts of energy and materials. This shift to reusable systems is already playing a key role in making rocket launches more efficient and less wasteful. Think of it as the difference between using a single-use plastic bottle versus a reusable water bottle. By rethinking how rockets are built and operated, the industry is helping to reduce not only launch costs but also the broader environmental impact of space travel. But beyond these technical innovations, there's another, perhaps less obvious, way space tourism could contribute to sustainability: by changing how we view and care for our planet. Time and again, astronauts describe a phenomenon called the overview effect, a profound cognitive shift that occurs when they see Earth from space. From up there, you don't see borders or politics. You see a fragile, interconnected blue sphere floating alone in the vast blackness of space. Many astronauts have said this perspective deepened their understanding of the planet's fragility and strengthened their sense of environmental responsibility. Space tourism offers an extraordinary opportunity to expand this experience beyond professionals, giving ordinary people the chance to see Earth from this transformative vantage point. Imagine a future where thousands of travelers return from their journeys to spread a message of environmental awareness. The hope is that their stories will inspire greater action towards sustainability, not just within the space industry but across countless sectors. By fostering this sense of global interconnectedness, space tourism could become a catalyst for stronger commitments to protecting our shared home. That being said, inspiration alone isn't enough. As the industry grows, environmental accountability must remain a top priority. Governments, private companies, and international organizations must work together to implement regulations and standards that encourage sustainable practices. This includes investing in technologies that reduce emissions, monitoring the long-term effects of rocket launches on the atmosphere, and ensuring that the industry's growth doesn't outpace its commitment to protecting the environment. After all, the goal of space exploration has always been to expand the horizons of human possibility, not to endanger the very planet that makes it all possible. The development of sustainable space tourism is in many ways a balancing act. It's about finding a way to explore the stars without losing sight of our profound responsibility to the planet that gave us life. As we look to the skies, we must remember to keep our feet firmly grounded in the principles of sustainability. And as the industry moves forward, another critical question remains: how can space tourism contribute to our collective ambitions of becoming a multiplanetary species? Let's explore that next. Imagine a day when space travel isn't reserved for billionaire entrepreneurs or trained astronauts, but for students, teachers, artists, and everyday individuals from all walks of life. Democratizing space, making it accessible for all, is no longer just a dream. It's a goal that both private companies and governments are actively working toward. While today's space tourism is undeniably exclusive, marked by sky-high price tags that only a privileged few can afford, the trajectory of innovation points to a future where access to space could one day resemble the evolution of commercial air travel, a luxury at first but eventually a common experience. Let's start with how this shift might happen. One of the biggest barriers to broader access is, of course, cost. Currently, a seat on a suborbital flight can set you back hundreds of thousands of dollars, and orbital missions carry even heftier price tags in the tens of millions. But as we've seen in countless industries, from personal computers to air travel, competition and technological advancements tend to drive prices down over time. Companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic are working to refine reusable rocket technology and optimize their operations, which have already begun to lower the cost per launch significantly. These innovations mark a crucial first step toward making space tourism more affordable for a wider range of participants. Beyond technological advancements, there's also a growing movement aimed at opening opportunities for people who might otherwise never imagine a trip to space. Scholarships, competitions, and private sponsorships are starting to play a vital role in diversifying the space tourism landscape. For instance, Space for Humanity, a non-profit organization, is dedicated to sending individuals from underrepresented backgrounds to space as citizen astronauts. Their mission is to ensure that space exploration reflects the diversity of humanity by giving people from different regions, cultures, and economic backgrounds the chance to look back at Earth from orbit. Initiatives like these demonstrate that space travel doesn't have to remain an exclusive club. It can become a shared experience that transcends borders and socioeconomic barriers. Competitions, too, are helping to democratize access. Consider the Inspiration 4 mission spearheaded by SpaceX in 2021. This historic flight was the first all-civilian mission to orbit the Earth, and one of the participants, Chris Zembrowski, won his seat through a public contest. Similarly, other organizations have begun offering lottery systems or contests to allow individuals with no prior space experience to participate in future missions. These efforts not only provide access to participants but also inspire millions of others, proving that space is not just for engineers or seasoned explorers, it's for anyone with the passion and curiosity to embrace the unknown. Another exciting avenue for widening access involves partnerships between governments and private companies. Historically, space programs were controlled by state-run agencies like NASA, the European Space Agency, or Roscosmos. These organizations were essential in laying the groundwork for space exploration, but their missions were largely limited to professional astronauts. Now, with the rise of private companies, governments are collaborating to offer more inclusive opportunities. For instance, NASA has partnered with private firms to develop commercial spaceflights that could one day include scientists, educators, and even students on research-focused or educational missions. Imagine classrooms around the world watching in real time as their teacher conducts a live science experiment from space, a transformative educational experience that inspires the next generation of explorers. But the implications of democratizing space go beyond just making it affordable. When ordinary people venture into space, they bring with them new perspectives, values, and ideas. Artists might find inspiration in the vastness of the cosmos, creating works that challenge how we see our own planet. Teachers could share first-hand stories of the overview effect, sparking environmental consciousness in their students. People from different cultures might use their experiences to bridge divides, showing us the shared humanity that becomes so evident when looking at Earth from the black void of space. By diversifying who gets to go, we inevitably diversify how those experiences shape our world. The societal impact of widespread access to space could be profound. Space tourism could foster a culture of global unity, where people no longer see themselves through the narrow lens of nationality or ethnicity, but as part of a single, interconnected species. It could inspire advancements in science, technology, and even philosophy, as humanity collectively reflects on what it means to venture beyond our planetary boundaries. And critically, it could ignite the aspirations of people who might have never thought they could be part of something so grand, showing them that the stars are truly within reach. Democratizing space is not an overnight transformation, and there are still significant hurdles to overcome. But step by step, as costs drop, initiatives expand, and participation diversifies, we move closer to a world where space travel no longer belongs to the few, but becomes a shared human endeavor that reshapes our society and culture in unimaginable ways. So, as the barriers to entry continue to fall, one has to wonder, what happens when millions or even billions of us have access to space? Could this dream redefine what it means to be human? Let's consider that as we wrap up, as the space tourism industry accelerates toward becoming a central pillar of humanity's presence in space, the role of governments and international collaboration cannot be overstated. While private companies have been the driving force behind many of the recent advancements, it's the policies, regulations, and cooperative frameworks established by global governments that will shape the industry's long-term trajectory. Without these foundational guidelines, the rapid growth of space tourism could quickly give way to chaos, jeopardizing safety, sustainability, and even geopolitical stability. One of the most immediate and critical responsibilities of governments is to establish safety standards for commercial spaceflight. Unlike traditional aviation, space tourism involves entirely new risks, from the stresses of launch and re-entry to the hazards of operating in microgravity. Governments play a key role in mandating rigorous testing, crew training, and certification processes to ensure passenger safety. In the United States, for example, the Federal Aviation Administration currently oversees commercial space launches, issuing licenses and regulations to minimize risks while allowing for innovation. Similar agencies worldwide are beginning to adopt their own frameworks, creating a patchwork of regulations that must eventually harmonize as the industry grows. But safety is only one piece of the puzzle. Another crucial area lies in defining liability laws. Who is responsible if something goes wrong, whether it's a mechanical failure, a passenger injury, or damage to orbiting satellites? Private companies can only move forward with confidence when clear guidelines are in place regarding accountability. Governments must also ensure that passengers fully understand the risks associated with space travel, potentially through detailed informed consent agreements. Striking the right balance is essential. Regulations must protect consumers and third parties without stifling innovation or creating excessive barriers to entry for new companies. Beyond individual national policies, there's the broader challenge of managing space traffic. As the number of launches increases, along with the deployment of satellites and commercial activities in orbit, Earth's immediate surroundings are becoming crowded. Space debris is already a pressing issue, with thousands of defunct satellites and fragments orbiting the planet at high speeds, posing a danger to both spacecraft and the International Space Station. Governments, in collaboration with private companies, must develop systems for tracking and managing the flow of traffic in orbit, akin to air traffic control for aviation. This will require cutting-edge technologies such as advanced sensors and algorithms to monitor the growing web of satellites and spacecraft, ensuring safe and orderly operations. On an international scale, the stakes are even higher. Space tourism, like all activities in orbit, does not occur in isolation. Earth's atmosphere and outer space are global domains shared by all nations. This makes international collaboration essential, particularly in developing shared frameworks for sustainable growth. Agreements like the Outer Space Treaty of 1967 provide a starting point, outlining basic principles for the peaceful use of space, liability, and environmental protection. However, those agreements were written in a time when space exploration was conducted exclusively by governments, not private companies. Today's realities require updated frameworks that account for the commercial nature of modern space activities. One critical area for collaboration is sustainability. Governments and international bodies must work together to establish rules about launch frequencies, debris mitigation, and resource use to ensure that space remains accessible for future generations. For example, coordinated efforts to remove or repurpose space debris could become a major priority as the number of objects in orbit multiplies. Additionally, partnerships to monitor the environmental impacts of rocket launches could lead to shared development of greener propulsion technologies, benefiting not just space tourism but all sectors of space exploration. However, the push for cooperative frameworks isn't without its challenges. Geopolitical tensions can complicate efforts to collaborate on space-related issues. Nations may view space tourism as a realm of economic competition or a potential security risk, leading to fragmented policies or even conflict. Yet, the opportunities for fostering global unity through shared exploration goals are immense. Joint projects such as the International Space Station have already demonstrated how countries can work together, even during periods of political strain. Expanding this model to include private companies and a broader range of nations could create a truly inclusive vision for space exploration. The beauty of the space tourism industry lies in its potential to remind us of our shared humanity. When viewed from the vast expanse of space, the borders and divisions of Earth seem to fade away. International collaboration in this rapidly growing sector could strengthen bonds between nations, promote peace, and inspire a collective commitment to protecting our planet and exploring the unknown. By working together to establish fair, sustainable, and forward-thinking policies, governments and organizations can ensure that space tourism doesn't just benefit a select few, but becomes a shared journey for all of humankind. While the vision of space tourism is undeniably exciting, it's also fraught with challenges, particularly the technical and safety hurdles that come with venturing into the harsh, unforgiving environment of space. For this industry to truly flourish, these issues must be addressed head-on, ensuring that space travel is not only accessible but also safe, reliable, and sustainable. The good news: many of the obstacles faced aren't insurmountable, and the ongoing research to overcome them has the potential to push technological boundaries in ways that could ripple across industries far beyond space tourism. One of the most pressing challenges is spacecraft reliability. Unlike terrestrial transportation, where mechanical failures can often be managed safely, even the smallest malfunction in space can have catastrophic consequences. Spacecraft need to withstand immense forces during launch and re-entry, endure drastic temperature fluctuations, and operate flawlessly in the vacuum of space. To address this, companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are investing heavily in reusable rocket technology, improving both reliability and cost efficiency over time. Rigorous testing protocols, automated diagnostic systems, and advanced materials capable of withstanding extreme conditions are being deployed to reduce the likelihood of failures. Every successful trial not only builds public trust but also brings us one step closer to making space travel as dependable as boarding an airplane. Another critical concern is radiation exposure. Space travelers are exposed to significantly higher levels of cosmic radiation than anyone on Earth due to the lack of our planet's protective atmosphere and magnetic field in orbit. Prolonged radiation exposure can increase the risk of cancer, damaged DNA, and even affect cognitive functions. This is particularly concerning for longer missions, such as those to the Moon or Mars, but even brief spaceflights raise questions about long-term health impacts. To mitigate this, researchers are exploring innovative shielding technologies, such as advanced materials that can absorb or deflect radiation. Some concepts even include wearable radiation protection suits or spacecraft designs that utilize water or specialized polymers as barriers. Solving this issue isn't just critical for space tourists, it's also a necessity for enabling sustainable human presence on other planets, making this research a cornerstone of interplanetary exploration. Health risks associated with microgravity present another formidable challenge. In zero-gravity environments, the human body undergoes significant changes, including muscle atrophy, bone density loss, and fluid redistribution that can lead to vision problems. While astronauts undergo rigorous physical training and are monitored closely on missions, space tourists, with little to no formal preparation, will need simpler, more accessible solutions. Companies are exploring microgravity countermeasures, such as compact exercise equipment that can fit aboard spacecraft, or even artificial gravity systems, which may one day simulate Earth-like conditions during spaceflights. Beyond space travel, addressing these health challenges could revolutionize treatments for conditions like osteoporosis or muscle-wasting diseases here on Earth. It's also worth noting that the act of launching and recovering spacecraft itself involves a host of risks, from weather-related delays to the intense heat and pressure experienced during re-entry. Advanced weather prediction tools, automated flight systems, and emergency escape measures are all being developed to handle these scenarios. Virgin Galactic Spaceship 2, for example, includes redundant safety mechanisms to protect passengers in case of an in-flight issue. As these technologies evolve, they're not only making space tourism more viable, but are also improving safety standards for other forms of high-risk travel and exploration. What's most exciting about these efforts is how they're driving innovation. The challenges of space tourism are pushing the boundaries of engineering, biology, and materials science. Breakthroughs in spacecraft reliability are finding applications in everything from autonomous vehicles to disaster-resilient infrastructure. Radiation shielding technologies could one day benefit workers in hazardous environments like nuclear plants or high-altitude aviation. And innovations in microgravity health research could lead to better medical treatments that improve quality of life for people on Earth. Ultimately, overcoming these technical challenges is not just a step toward making space tourism a staple of the 21st century. It's also a path toward solving some of humanity's most pressing problems, proving once again that the drive to explore beyond our planet often leads to incredible advancements back home. The question we must now consider is, how do we ensure these solutions benefit society as a whole, and what role do we all play in shaping the future of space travel? That's where the true potential lies. Space tourism, while captivating in its own right, may ultimately serve as a stepping stone to something much greater: the long-term exploration and habitation of other celestial bodies. As humanity sets its sights on ambitions like establishing lunar bases and eventually colonizing Mars, the advancements and infrastructure created by the space tourism industry could prove to be invaluable. In many ways, the growth of this commercial sector is laying the groundwork for the technologies, funding streams, and expertise required to turn these dreams of a multiplanetary future into reality. To understand this connection, let's first look at the technologies being developed for space tourism and their potential applications. Reusable rockets, a cornerstone of companies like SpaceX, are one of the most significant innovations to emerge from the commercial space industry. These rockets are designed not only to reduce the cost of accessing space, but also to withstand repeated use, making frequent travel to destinations like the Moon or Mars more feasible. For instance, SpaceX's Starship, which is being developed both for commercial space tourism and interplanetary missions, is expected to play a key role in NASA's Artemis program, the initiative aiming to establish a sustained human presence on the Moon. The same spacecraft that could one day take tourists on suborbital joyrides will also be capable of ferrying supplies, equipment, and even colonists to other worlds. Another area where space tourism is driving progress is life support systems. Any prolonged human activity in space, whether aboard a luxury space hotel or a lunar base, requires highly advanced systems to provide oxygen, recycle water, manage waste, and maintain a livable atmosphere. As space hotels and orbital habitats are developed to cater to tourists, these technologies will need to be refined for efficiency, scalability, and long-term reliability. The innovations born from these efforts will be directly applicable to creating sustainable habitats on the Moon or Mars, where self-sufficiency is not just a convenience but a necessity. But beyond the technology itself, the space tourism industry provides the critical funding and public interest needed to advance human space exploration. Government space agencies like NASA, ESA, and Roscosmos have historically been the sole drivers of exploration, but they operate under limited budgets that are often influenced by shifting political priorities. Enter private companies, with space tourism generating billions in revenue. These funds can be reinvested into research and development for ambitious interplanetary goals. For example, profits from space tourism missions could help subsidize missions to study Martian soil, develop autonomous rovers for lunar construction, or establish fuel depots in orbit, all essential steps toward building a multiplanetary civilization. Space tourism also plays a vital role in normalizing human activity in space. Right now, space exploration is an extraordinary achievement carried out by highly trained astronauts and scientists. But if more people, tourists, researchers, and entrepreneurs gain first-hand experience in space, they will accelerate the learning curve for how humans can adapt to living and working beyond Earth. These early ventures help identify challenges, refine solutions, and expand the pool of knowledge and expertise needed for survival on other planets. Essentially, space tourism serves as a trial run for the larger-scale human settlements of the future. Consider the Moon as a testing ground. The Moon's proximity makes it an ideal location for developing the technologies and systems needed for colonization. Private companies like Blue Origin envision creating permanent lunar habitats to support industry, research, and perhaps even tourism. These efforts are directly aligned with NASA Artemis program and its goal of establishing a sustainable lunar presence by the end of this decade. With the infrastructure and innovations fueled by private industry, it's easier to imagine humans mining lunar resources, building habitats with local materials, and using the Moon as a launch pad for deeper space exploration. And then there's Mars, humanity's ultimate frontier for the foreseeable future. The colonization of Mars requires solving some of the most complex challenges we've ever faced, from creating reliable supply chains over extreme distances to developing terraforming techniques and building self-sustaining ecosystems. The advancements in spacecraft technology, resource utilization, and human adaptability driven by space tourism will be foundational to overcoming these obstacles. SpaceX, for one, has made its ambitions to colonize Mars abundantly clear, with its Starship being designed specifically for interplanetary transport. The success of space tourism missions contributes directly to perfecting the systems that will one day carry people and supplies across millions of miles of space. In the bigger picture, space tourism helps foster a cultural and psychological shift. By making space more accessible, it builds public enthusiasm and global cooperation for ventures that would have seemed impossible just a few decades ago. It primes humanity for the mindset that space isn't just a destination for a chosen few. It's an extension of who we are and where we can go as a species. So, when we marvel at the sight of civilian passengers floating weightlessly above Earth or gazing down at our planet from orbit, it's worth remembering that these moments are about more than just adventure. They are part of a much larger story, a story where the growth of space tourism is paving the way for humanity to one day live, thrive, and explore among the stars. Space tourism is more than just an exhilarating adventure or a dazzling spectacle. It represents a transformative leap forward for humanity. At the intersection of imagination, innovation, and global progress, this burgeoning industry has the power to reshape our world in profound and unexpected ways. From driving technological breakthroughs and fueling economic expansion to fostering global collaboration and redefining our relationship with the cosmos, space tourism is a catalyst for change on a scale we've only begun to comprehend. Think about the economic ripple effects. Space tourism is creating entirely new industries, from advanced spacecraft manufacturing to orbital hospitality and even asteroid mining. The technologies developed to power this industry are not only lowering the costs of access to space, but also revolutionizing other sectors here on Earth, from medicine to energy. The money and talent pouring into space tourism aren't just funding leisure trips, they're fueling the innovations that will define the future of exploration and sustainability, both in orbit and beyond. On the scientific front, every single launch holds the promise of discovery. Space tourism opens doors to groundbreaking research in microgravity, life sciences, and material development, while empowering ordinary people to contribute as citizen scientists. The ability to access and experiment in space more frequently, thanks to commercial spaceflight, could lead to advancements that transform life on Earth, whether it's better pharmaceuticals, revolutionary materials, or new insights into the challenges of human survival in extreme environments. And perhaps most inspiring is the way space tourism has the potential to foster global unity. The sight of our planet from orbit, suspended in the infinite blackness of space, has the power to humble and unite us. It highlights the fragility of Earth and underscores the shared responsibility we all have to protect it. By involving people from diverse cultures, regions, and backgrounds, this industry can amplify a sense of collective purpose, transcending borders and bridging divides. International partnerships, both public and private, are proving that collaboration, not competition, is the key to unlocking space's full potential. But this journey is just beginning. The road ahead will require us to tackle significant challenges, from ensuring the environmental sustainability of rocket launches to creating ethical frameworks that make space accessible and inclusive for all. We must approach this frontier with care, balancing our aspirations to explore with our responsibility to preserve and protect the worlds we touch. After all, space tourism isn't just about reaching for the stars, it's about doing so in a way that benefits all of humanity. So, as we stand at the dawn of this new era, let's take a moment to reflect on what this means for the future. Imagine a world where space becomes a part of everyday life, where exploring the cosmos is no longer a privilege for the few but an opportunity for the many. A world where the technologies and insights born from this industry create a better, more sustainable existence on Earth, and a future where our collective curiosity drives us to expand our horizons, not just as individuals but as a united human race. This is the potential of space tourism. It's not just about the adventure or the view, it's about what lies beyond. It's about inspiring innovation, sparking collaboration, and forging a legacy that future generations can build upon. So join the conversation. Share your thoughts, your dreams, and your ideas about what this frontier means for all of us. Together, we have the chance to shape the future of space travel responsibly, ensuring that this next great chapter in human history is one we can all take pride in. Because the story of space isn't just about where we're going, it's about what kind of world we want to create along the way.